I gotta say, it's been a crazy 24 hours as the news cycle for the Sooners have really just been spinning like crazy. What a Thursday. What a January 4th. As Oklahoma made the decision to mutually part ways with defensive coordinator Ted Roof. I dropped a video to talk about that. We added a player from the portal. And then within about the hour, there were reports of who that successor is. So my initial video was some people that I would like for us to consider. And we got one of them. So let's dive into it because I want to break down just how sneaky of a good move this is by the Sooners and why it really shows what Oklahoma has done historically. It's almost unprecedented. Let's dive in. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. I want to talk about the latest hire at defensive coordinator. We have Zach Alley, who is being reported as the new defensive coordinator. He's working on that contract right now. And this is a lot more sneaky good than a lot of Sooner fans understand. And let's talk through it. I want to talk about his history as well as what this means for the Brent Venables era here at Oklahoma and what it looks like for him as defensive coordinator. So let's dive in. So first off, historically, when it comes to Zach, Coach Alley comes to Oklahoma from Jacksonville State out there in Alabama. He was part of the Rich Rodriguez staff. He was defensive coordinator this past year, helped lead the team to a 9-2 record. And defensively, they looked pretty good. If you go watch the film, they're a fun defense. And I'm actually going to be watching a lot of their games this weekend to really break it down. But when we talk about it on the Sunday Live, but when you watch the schemes and stuff they run, very similar to Brent Venables. And I think the best part about Coach Alley is if you watch him on the sidelines, he reminds you a lot of Brent Venables. The dude is a lunatic. He loses his mind. He gets excited. And you can tell he's really a people's coach. Now, this is what's crazy about it. So this is what's funny. When Zach started, he started off his career. He's a Clemson grad. And he worked as a student assistant under Dabo Swinney from 2011 to 2014. That was him as a student. And then in 15 to 18, he was a graduate assistant on the defensive side of the ball. So 7 of the 8 years that he was at Clemson, Brent Venables was who he was working closely with. And so this is really a Venables clone. And so in an interview that, you see with the film that I'm playing now, he had talked about how he sees Venables as a father figure and he emulates him as much as possible and blah, blah, blah. And so what better person to bring in than a dude that's just like the head coach that you have on staff? I've had people ask, why would we go this direction? Why did they get rid of Ted Roof? And why would they bring in this young guy? Well, I'll say this after I break down his history, but there is definitely a reason why they did it. So from there, he went to Boise State, was inside linebacker coach there for a bit. And then he went to University of Louisiana Monroe underneath Terry Bowden. I was wrong. It wasn't Billy Napier at University of Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. He went to actually Louisiana Monroe under Terry Bowden, and he was a defensive coordinator. At 27 years old in 2021, 27-year-old defensive coordinator, was the youngest one in FBS at the time. So you're bringing in a super young coach, does well there, then goes to Jacksonville State for the last year. And then, of course, we pick up the phone and say, hey, we'd love for you to come here. And so Oklahoma chose him. Venables chose him, I think, for 2 reasons. One, not that Ted Roof couldn't do the thing, but Ted Roof was there really to help Venables as he was transitioning into a role of being a head coach, right? He needed someone with experience to be there to help. Ted Roof is 60, and he did a really good job of helping Venables try to balance the act of being head coach and defensive coordinator and understand what he really wants to do is how involved he wants to be on the defensive side. Well, at a certain point, it feels like Venables decided that, one, he's ready to move really step back into a CEO role, head coach only, and let his coordinators do their thing. That's the best part of having a Seth Littrell as your offensive coordinator. He's a former head coach, and he's made the mistakes of time management and things of that nature as a head coach from the years of being in North Texas that he can now implement and fix while he's here at Oklahoma. He's also got Venables that's going to be able to oversee a lot of that and pay attention to the critical moments of the game. Bringing in Alley, who has defensive coordinating experience the last few years, He can come in, focus on the defense that Venables likes to run because he worked for him at Clemson and has implemented it in places that he's been. And Venables can focus on being the CEO. So that's really the big reasons there. It's time for a change going into the SEC. You need somebody young and vibrant. And the other thing is the young and vibrantness of Zach Alley is Coach Alley can go out there and recruit probably with some of the best of them. And I'm going to say probably because, the jury's out. But he's young. And he's at the age where it's perfect for him to go run around and meet players and get on the recruiting trail on a regular basis. He'll be 30 years old going into the season. And at that age, he is actually about the same age as Brent Venables was when he got his first DC job. Y'all remember that? 29 years old, coming in at Oklahoma in 1999, 2000? Yeah, he's young. Bob Stoops was young when he took the head coaching job. I think he was like 30-something when he took the head coaching job at Oklahoma. The one thing Oklahoma has proven to be really good at is bringing young dudes in and them being successful. Now, you all may be asking, Jay, we don't know this dude. He's young, blah, blah, blah. How do you measure his success? What makes you think this is a good hire? I'll tell you this, and there's one reason why. Brent Venables brought Emmett Jones in. A lot of y'all question that hire. Who's this dude? He was at Kansas. He's at Texas Tech. Jump back and forth. We don't know. I don't know if we could What's our best room on the team now? Right. Wide receivers. Everybody's excited about the wide receivers. Now, other person, Jay Valai. Jay Valai moved around. I think he had like 3 jobs in 4 years or 4 jobs in 3 years. He went to the Eagles, Texas, Alabama. Texas and Alabama was complaining about him, blah, 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 blah. He brought Jay Valai in. Jay Valai's still here. Right? Last I remember. So he's bringing in people to add stability to the staff, especially because the best part for Alley is, too, we're walking into the SEC with a very experienced defense. Over 4,000 snaps from players that were freshmen and sophomores or redshirt freshmen. So a lot of young talent that's played a lot of ball in this system. Alley's going to do nothing but enhance that. He's an aggressive dude, so he blitzes like Venables does. And so the best part is this dude's a clone of Brent Venables. You can see with his mannerisms, the way he acts, all of that. I trust Venables on this hire after what he did with Emmett Jones. He brought in a guy like him, and I was like, oh, this is good. When he built his staff, you're like, oh, okay, it's pretty solid. Pretty darn solid. And so now Zach's going to be in here. He'll be recruiting linebackers. He'll be running the defense. And the last thing was, we talked about this on the Horns Down pod. The question was asked, okay, so what about Brandon Hall? Why isn't Brandon Hall considered as the defensive coordinator? He was defensive coordinator at Troy, but I bet you he decided that, I don't want that spot. I want to focus on my family. I want to be able to focus on the safeties and really try to maximize that. That's what it seems like. We'll take it, right? But that's not a bad thing, because sometimes some coaches don't have that additional aspiration, contrary to popular belief, to do more than what they've already done. Like, he's been a coordinator. He probably was like, nah, it's not for me. I think I'm good. And the last thing on the Alley piece that I really like about him being hired is that he came from Jacksonville State, which their head coach is Rich Rodriguez. If you don't remember Rich Rodriguez, he was the coach at West Virginia. He was up there at Michigan. He was at Arizona. He's moved around, right? The thing that Rich Rod does is he's very, he's an air raid type coach, fast paced, likes to go. If Alley's defense he had a pretty solid defense with a Rich Rod offense running around, kind of tells you something, right? Kind of tells you that, oh, okay, this makes sense. That, if we're going to keep a fast-paced offense going with occasional tempo or slowing down moments, oh boy, Alley's defense will be able to handle it. And it's going to be all about those rotations. Good thing is he's got a staff of experienced guys to work with him. I think we've got ourselves some excitement. So that's what I'm seeing here when it comes to Zach Alley being the new defensive coordinator. Should be announced officially very soon. Hop in the comments. Let your boy know what's your thoughts. How you feeling about this hire? What's your questions about Zach Alley? I want to know what you all think about him being brought in. If you made it this far, like the content, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Love for you to join this family of college football fans. Talking a lot of OU football and college football in general. Always had a blast do it. So, hope y'all enjoy the weekend. We'll go live on Sunday. Make sure you pull up and chat with me and Coop. YouTube says check out one of these videos. I highly recommend it because I put it together for you. And we will talk very near future. Peace.